Imagine a gigantic amusement park in the middle of the fields, built just a few kilometers from Paris. It was in the 1980s that this titanic project came to life. A huge park with dozens of rides, roller coasters, monumental shows, revolutionary animatronics for the time, and above all, a 35-meter tall giant visible from several kilometers away.
A park so ambitious that some thought it could become the French Disneyland. But after 4 years, everything came to a sudden stop, and we can ask ourselves what happened, why, and what became of the amusement park. So sit back, because today we're telling you the story of Mirapolis.
Mirapolis is over. The amusement park near Cergy-Pontoise has closed permanently after 4 years of chaotic operation. Supposed to revolutionize French leisure habits, Mirapolis faded away with the arrival of Disney, which of course didn't help matters at all.
Hello everyone, this is Gabriel.
And Corentin. And today we're back for a rather special video. As you know, for several years now we're no longer allowed to do urban exploration in France. At least the law prevents us from doing it.
Today we're introducing a format to discuss abandoned places that once existed in France, and there's a specific reason we can share them with you. The places we're going to talk to you about in this little series are no longer accessible today, so we'll be able to take a lot of liberties and tell you all their stories.
And to start all this, today we're going to talk about Mirapolis. It's an attraction that was built in the 1980s and was destroyed before we had the chance to visit or even explore it.
Mirapolis, you'll see that there are actually some connections with videos we've made directly on the channel.
But before we start this amazing story, we have to tell you something, and this is going to interest everyone who's about to go on a trip soon.
Because at the time you're watching this video, we're actually filming in Japan. And what we're going to talk to you about is really super useful for us over there. It's the sponsor of the video, Rosetta Stone.
Because honestly, we've tried a lot of apps to learn new languages, but we really fell in love with Rosetta Stone because it's much faster and more effective than we thought. With the previous apps, you felt like you were making progress, but once in the country, you forgot everything and it seemed like you'd never learned the language.
This time, we took Japanese lessons with Rosetta Stone and learned the basics in 2 weeks so we wouldn't embarrass ourselves in Japan. Konnichiwa.
Ni fried chicken, ni. Chuck. Ni.
Excuse me.
Ring 2, ouch. Thank you.
We're handling it like pros. What's great about Rosetta Stone is that some app lessons are under 5 minutes, so you can use it anywhere.
And on Rosetta Stone, there's also the True Accent feature, a feature we love. Basically, it compares your pronunciation to that of native speakers and tells you right away if you're pronouncing things correctly or not. And that really helps you improve quickly. Obviously, you can take advantage of all this with our link in the description. You have 25 languages to choose from, and most importantly, 60% off a lifetime subscription. So go ahead and take advantage of it.
You'll see for yourself, it's really going to change your life.
So thank you. Let's go. This can take a while since we're now multilingual with Rosetta Stone, so try the app without hesitation.
To understand the Mirapolis project, you have to go back to the early 1980s. At that time, amusement parks were starting to develop all over France. Because in the United States, amusement parks already attract millions of visitors every year, and in France, several projects are emerging to create modern theme parks capable of attracting large numbers of tourists.
It was in this context that an ambitious project was born near Cergy. This project is called Mirapolis. Its goal is simple, to create the first major French theme park inspired by the American model. But with an important difference. Unlike Disney parks with cartoon characters, Mirapolis aims to showcase French culture and legends. As you'll see, this decision may have ultimately made Mirapolis shoot itself in the foot.
The park's creator, Anne Foucault, supposedly came up with the idea for Mirapolis after visiting Disneyland Park in California. She then imagined a similar park, but with European and French themes.
I've always been very interested in this world of socializing, leisure and sports. And here, if you will, for me, it's kind of the fulfillment of a childhood dream. It's about creating an amusement and leisure park, a place for people to meet, where all visitors, young and old, can dream, play and experience the fantastic. And above all, with new communication technologies to give all these visitors a space for gatherings and celebrations. Subtitling by Société Radio-Canada.
The project is going to be gigantic. The park should cover more than 50 hectares, which is equivalent to 70 football fields, and construction will begin in 1985. Roads are being built and an artificial lake will be dug.
To show the project's scale, they built one of France's largest amusement park parking lots at the time. On top of that, 20,000 trees will be planted to transform the former fields into natural landscapes. And with all that, the total cost of the project will be around 500 million francs, which is about 120 million euros today.
Unlike the American park, Mirapolis will be inspired by French legends, but also by French literature, folk tales, medieval history, and great European inventions. And among the worlds present in the park, you can find the City of Ice, inspired by a Breton legend about a sunken city. Dame Tartine's palace, inspired by an old French nursery rhyme, is also there. Or even the Château des Sortilèges, dedicated to the inventions of Leonardo da Vinci, and several medieval villages are built. The goal is to create a park that mixes culture, history, and modern attractions. And you'll see, without having Little Nemo or Toy Story, it might be difficult for the park to become popular.
Bienvenue à Mirapolis, entrez, entrez, petits et grands.
On May 21, 1987, it's the big day and the park will officially open. It was even inaugurated by Jacques Chirac, who was the mayor of Paris at the time. At that time, Mirapolis offered about 35 attractions, several restaurants, shops, shows, and several themed areas. And speaking of those 35 attractions, you should know that we've already explored one of them, and it wasn't at Mirapolis. You'll understand a bit later.
Oui, comment c'est possible?
Eh ben, on verra. Before we continue, please subscribe to the Gabriel and Corentin YouTube channel. It really helps us and ensures you won't miss future videos on topics you enjoy. Now let's return to some numbers. The entrance ticket costs about 85 francs, which is around 20 euros today, and the creators of this park hope to attract 2 to 3 million visitors per year. Soon, one attraction will stand out and become the park's symbol. We haven't mentioned it yet, but you probably know it.
At the heart of this park stands a gigantic statue of Gargantua, a famous character from the novels of François Rabelais. And this statue is no less than 35 meters tall. His head alone measures 11 meters and weighs nearly 30 tons. You can see it from several kilometers away. Most importantly, it has an attraction. Visitors enter directly through the giant's mouth, and inside they get into suspended wagons. The ride then goes through the entire body of the giant. And the scenery represents a mechanical and fantastic version of anatomy. Giant gears, a mechanical heart, animatronic red blood cells, lighting effects, and lasers. Everything is there to make people love this attraction. And that's the case. It's the one that makes children dream all across France.
Let me talk a bit more about this gargantuan attraction. You can say that again, yeah. At the top of the statue, there was also a platform that allowed you to have a panoramic view of the entire park. And for many visitors, it was one of the strangest attractions ever built. But Mirapolis isn't just about this big attraction and this giant statue. There are also plenty of other very important attractions. Mira looping, a roller coaster with 4 inversions. That was already impressive for France in the 1980s.
And how can we not mention the Mirapolis Express? A small train that goes through all the areas of the park. And that's not all, because the park also offers many shows, like night fights, acrobatic shows, or even entertainment with costume characters. And some attractions use animatronics that were very advanced for the time. Like a robot that represented Leonardo da Vinci, and it could walk and even talk, and that was completely crazy for the time.
My friends, one day, we will be able to visit thousands of worlds to enrich ourselves through contact with civilizations hidden in the heart of the stars.
Similar to Disney parks then, Mirapolis is split into themed worlds. One is the Land of Legends, devoted to myths and stories, featuring the City of Wise and an underwater journey. But there's also the Land of Adventure with water attractions like the Beaver River. But there was also an area for children called the Paradis des Comptines Gourmands. For example, the Palace of Dame Tartine, the Automaton Gallery, and animatronic shows. And to make everyone dream, there was also the Belle Époque Garden, which was inspired by 19th century France with the Tacos Chapeau, an old car circuit, and also the famous Fleury River that allowed you to take a boat ride. I don't know the river.
They dug an artificial lake.
Everything is connected. Not bad, not bad. They had a plan. Yeah, not bad, not bad.
I suggest we see what's left ourselves, since we're just talking about 35 attractions and several zones. But what if we had to take a look?
We don't know what's left of those zones now.
We don't know. It's not far from Paris. We saw it. It's Cergy.
Shall we go? We just need to take a train, I think. It's line L. Come on, let's go.
Here we are.
We're in front of the old entrance to Mirapolis, so we can see there are some really nice cars coming out, by the way. Oh yeah, you can still notice a few little things from the old Mirapolis, so those little elephant trunks there, which are pretty cute. And otherwise, as you know, there's nothing else left. Okay, he started drifting right there. Started drifting for us, maybe? Yeah, I think for the camera, honestly, yeah.
And there you go, that's the old entrance to the park.
So there's not much left except for this building, this fence, which was the old entrance. You can find old photos of it, which are pretty nice.
Now, members of the traveler community are settled throughout the grounds.
Yeah, I wonder if it's not the successor to the group of fairground people who took over the management of the park in 91 or 90. We don't know that exactly, but in any case, the fact is that there are. There you go. If you're wondering about Mirapolis, there's nothing left. If you're curious, don't go or bother those there. We just wanted to see it ourselves. And we're bothering them.
Despite its attractions, the park quickly faced problems. Attendance was lower than expected from the first season, even though over 1,000 people worked there during peak times. The park was hoping to have more than 2 million visitors per year, but in the first year, there were only 600,000 visitors, so it's a disaster.
C'est 3 fois inférieur à leurs attentes, rendez-vous compte.
There are several reasons for this failure. First, its location.
Indeed, even though the park is quite close to Paris, the location wasn't very well served by public transportation at the time, so it was difficult to get there, and that really held back the park's attendance. Then, there's the problem of marketing. The park was extremely focused on French legends and nothing else, and that can be very difficult for foreign tourists to understand. Because remember, France is the country with the most tourists in the world every year, and losing that part is really shooting yourself in the foot.
And especially when you compare it with other parks like Disneyland all over the world, everyone knows Disney and everyone knows Disney characters. That makes the park super popular and accessible to everyone.
Here, it's true that by making this choice, they really limited themselves to the French population, which was only 60 million people at the time. Also, another problem back then was that since this park was brand new, the trees were too young. And during the summer, when temperatures were around 35 degrees, the trees didn't provide any shade in the park, so it was really hot and it wasn't necessarily pleasant to walk around there. And by the way, for those of you watching this video who went to Mirapolis, what did you think? How was the park? Was it really incredible? Share your thoughts in the comments.
And quickly, in the first year, the losses are going to be huge. Fortunately for Mirapolis, Club Med is going to come to the rescue. They will take over the park and inject 100 million francs. This will make the second year more successful, reaching 1 million visitors.
It's still Mirapolis' best year to date.
But in the third year, attendance remains too low. 700,000 visitors, which is a 30% loss, and it's a disaster. In 1989, the park was taken over by a group of fairground operators led by Marcel Campion. The park then became a mix between a theme park and a fun fair. Some attractions require extra payment beyond the entrance ticket.
Visitors therefore have to pay twice. This decision is heavily criticized and attendance continues to drop, but there was a plan to fix it. The park was supposed to build a large themed hotel, add much bigger roller coasters in a future expansion, but all of that will never happen.
And even though it was already built and set up, Mirapolis Park is about to receive its final blow. A gigantic park is going to open near Paris. The project is being developed by the Walt Disney Company. And you guessed it, it's Disneyland Paris.
I declare Euro Disneyland officially open. Ouvert!
An entire city has sprung up. 5,200 hotel rooms, 50 attractions, dozens of shops. Everything is ready for the money to finally start coming in.
And as you know, when you say Disney, you mean an absolutely colossal budget. We're talking about several $1 billion being invested in this Disneyland Paris theme park. Obviously, faced with that, Mirapolis doesn't stand a chance and can't possibly compete with such a giant. And as you can imagine, Mirapolis will try to fight, but it won't last very long. And only 4 years after its opening, it will permanently close its doors on October 21, 1991.
And the park will be left as it is for a long time. Abandoned, the attractions are left there rusting, and nature slowly starts to take over again. It was likely one of the wildest urbex spots to explore in France then. Gradually, attractions were sold or auctioned off, with some bought by fairground operators and remaining in France. But others had the privilege of being sent abroad.
Before we continue, watch this video of us exploring an abandoned amusement park in Germany and let us know if an attraction stands out to you.
And if we take a close look at the comments on this video, indeed some people noticed it, and you were right.
Indeed, Spree-Park, an abandoned amusement park in Germany which was obviously operating at the time, was one of the buyers of attractions from Mirapolis. Notably the Mirapolis Express, which for example became the Santa Fe Express. And so, is this famous attraction with the big cat head that's also symbolic. Listen.
We were lucky enough to see it in Germany, and you can see it in the archives of Mirapolis Park from back then. And when we were exploring this park in Germany, we had no idea about all the history that could be hidden behind it.
But that's where the story gets pretty funny and rather strange. In fact, this amusement park, Spree-Park, was abandoned in 2002. This is the second time this ride has been in a park and the second time the park has been abandoned. So, is this ride cursed? We don't know.
Today, the rumors you find on the internet say that there are still attractions rusting away at Mirapolis. But let me remind you that we actually went there to check. So what did we find?
Well, as you saw, there's almost nothing left on site. But where did that 35-meter tall giant go? Hold on, don't forget to download Rosetta Stone, whether it's on your computer or your phone with the app. And on top of that,
you can get 60% off the lifetime subscription, so there's no reason to hesitate. Go ahead and download it. With this, you can finally get by abroad and make your trips even more unforgettable. And that's exactly what we want.
A huge, sad carcass that will soon be dismantled. In memoriam, the Mirapolis Park is closing its doors for good.
For several years after the park closed, the statue of Gargantua remained standing. It continued to dominate the landscape, but the structure began to deteriorate. It was finally on August 31, 1995 that the statue was blown up, and in just a few seconds, the giant disappeared. That was the symbolic end of Mirapolis Park.
Another closure was that of Mirapolis, the amusement park near Cergy-Pontoise. It was already closed for the winter as it was every year, but this time it would not reopen in the spring. There weren't enough visitors to balance the books.
An ambitious park inspired by French culture and imagination. But between financial problems, management mistakes, and the arrival of Disney, it was a dream that collapsed in just 4 years.
Today, nothing remains of this project, or at least almost nothing. Only photos or memories engraved in the minds of some people are left.